Right now, you might believe strength is about muscle, wealth, or influence. But those are mere decorations, not true power. True strength is invisible. It's the unshakable will that enables kings to fearlessly lose everything. It's the cold resolve that lets men walk through fire without blinking. While most people chase comfort, the strong train themselves to endure pain. They don't hope life will be kind. They prepare for when it's cruel. Every day the world tests you. It watches to see where you break the bills you can't pay, the betrayal you didn't expect, the fear that keeps you awake at night. Ordinary men run from these trials. Extraordinary men use them. They don't wait for the storm to pass. They walk into it and come out sharper. Machiavelli wrote that fortune belongs to those who are disciplined, ruthless, and unafraid of sacrifice. This video isn't about motivation. It isn't about being liked. It's about forging a will so unyielding that nothing, no pain, no fear, no failure can bend it. If you want comfort, leave now. But if you want to become untouchable, if you want to become inhumanly strong, keep watching. The first step to inhuman strength is to destroy the illusion that life will go easy on you. The world is not fair. It doesn't care if you're kind, talented, or full of potential. It's not waiting to reward you for your good behavior. It's sharpening its knives. And if you're hiding inside comfort, thinking you're safe, you're already losing. Look at the people around you. They cling to their routines like children clutching blankets. They wake up seeking warmth, pleasure, distraction. They avoid discomfort at all costs. And that's why they break so easily. One setback, one betrayal, one moment of real pressure, and they collapse. Because they never trained themselves to suffer on purpose. Machiavelli understood this truth better than anyone. He warned princes never to grow soft inside their own walls. Comfort rots the core. A ruler who shields himself from hardship becomes weak, and weak rulers lose their crowns. The same is true for you. If you want to be unbreakable, you must choose your suffering before life chooses it for you. This means cutting out every luxury that dulls your edge. Wake earlier than you want. Work longer than you think you can endure. Deny yourself the little comforts you secretly know are softening you, the people who drain you. When you control your pain, it can't be used against you. Think of a blade being forged. The metal is beaten, burned, and drowned over and over until it becomes something deadly. If you were that blade, how many strikes would you survive before you cracked? Every hardship you voluntarily face is another strike of the hammer, another blast of the fire, another step toward becoming unshatterable. Do not wait for life to test you on its terms. Test yourself first. Seek out the struggle deliberately, because when you own your pain, you own your power. When the world tries to crush you, it will find you already tempered like steel. The man who willingly suffers cannot be broken. Most people are prisoners in their own heads. They are ruled by impulses they don't even recognize. They speak before they think. They react before they calculate. They reveal themselves without meaning to. Their minds are open fields where anyone can walk in and plant seeds of fear, doubt, or desire. To become inhumanly strong, you must seal those gates. You must train your mind until it answers only to you, not to fear, not to pleasure, not to the pressure of the crowd. Machiavelli admired leaders who could stand in chaos and remain unshaken because they treated every thought like a soldier under command. Nothing entered their judgment unless it proved useful. Rage was chained until it was time to strike. Compassion was stored until it served a purpose. Even joy was rationed because too much of it makes a man careless. The first step is awareness. Most people drift through life reacting on instinct. They don't notice when they're being manipulated. A rumor spreads, and they believe it. A threat appears, and they retreat. A temptation glitters, and they grab it. But you will learn to pause. That single pause, that moment where you refuse to react, is the beginning of control. Picture your mind as a fortress with high stone walls. Every thought must be inspected at the gate. Is this fear valid, or is it just noise? Does this desire serve me, or does it enslave me? Is this anger useful, or will it expose me? If a thought does not pass inspection, it is turned away. Over time, this becomes second nature. Once you master this discipline, people will notice something different about you. You will move with quiet certainty. You will not flinch when insulted. You will not rush when pressured. You will not celebrate too loudly, even in victory, because you know victory is never final, and this calm will make others uneasy. They will wonder what you are thinking. They will wonder what you are planning. And fear grows fastest in the dark. But this calm is not about appearing cold. It's about freeing yourself from chains. When your decisions are no longer driven by emotion, you cannot be baited. You cannot be rushed. You cannot be played. Your enemies will try to guess what hurts you, and they will find nothing to grab onto. Build this mental fortress, brick by brick. In moments of stress, slow yourself down instead of speeding up. In moments of pleasure, remind yourself it's temporary, not a throne to sit on. In moments of fear, remember that fear is only information, not a master. The man who commands his mind commands his fate. He does not live at the mercy of moods or events. While others are tossed around like leaves in the wind, he walks straight through the storm without bowing his head. And that is strength far greater than muscle or money, because it cannot be taken away. When your mind becomes a fortress, no whisper can sway you. No insult can unbalance you. No temptation can pull you off course. You will act when you choose to act. You will strike when you decide to strike. And the world will realize that you are no ordinary man. You are something far more dangerous. Most people think strength lives in the body. They imagine that if they just build more muscle, run more miles, or eat the perfect diet, they'll become powerful. But the truth is harsher. The body is not strength itself. It's only a servant. And like any servant, it must obey, or it becomes the master. Look at the world today. People don't command their bodies. They negotiate with them. I'll work if I feel rested. I'll move if I feel motivated. I'll push if it's comfortable. They treat their own flesh like a spoiled child, always bargaining, never disciplining. And then they wonder why their will feels weak. Machiavelli would call this foolishness. A ruler who can't command his own household is unfit to command a state. Likewise, a man who can't control his own body is unfit to control his destiny. Your flesh should not tell you when to move, when to stop, when to eat, or when to rest. You give the orders. This does not mean you should become obsessed with appearances. Vanity is weakness in disguise. Men who train only to look impressive are slaves to the mirror. They do not own their strength. They rent it from the approval of others. When their body fails, their pride crumbles with it. True command of the body is not about sculpting it for applause. It's about forging it into a weapon, one that answers instantly when called upon. Can you wake at dawn without protest? Can you endure hunger without complaint? Can you keep working long after exhaustion tells you to quit? These are not questions of fitness. They are questions of power. Your body is a tool, nothing more. And like any tool, it dulls if you don't use it. Push it daily, not to show off, but to prove that your will is stronger than your flesh. When pain comes, welcome it as proof that your commands are being followed. When fatigue whispers that you've done enough, answer back with one more rep, one more step, one more hour. The weak train to feel good. The strong train to obey themselves. Every drop of sweat is a message. I control you. Every ache in your muscles is confirmation. You belong to me, not the other way around. This discipline bleeds into everything else. A man who cannot push through physical discomfort will never push through real adversity. If you break down because you're hungry or tired, what will you do when the stakes are higher? When betrayal strikes, when fortunes collapse, when enemies close in? Your body is the first battlefield, the testing ground where you learn to overcome resistance before the world throws it at you. And here is the hidden reward. When you stop worshiping your body, you actually grow stronger. You train not to feed your ego, but to sharpen your will. You learn to view the flesh as expendable in service to your mission. This makes you terrifying to those who live for comfort, because they know you'll do things they can't. You'll outwork them. You'll outlast them. You'll suffer more and still keep moving. Machiavelli admired men who treated their own lives as tools to be spent wisely, not treasures to be preserved at all costs. Treat your body the same way. Maintain it, sharpen it, discipline it, but never worship it. A servant who is worshipped becomes a tyrant, and a tyrant body makes for a weak soul. Command yourself completely. When you say move, you move. When you say endure, you endure. When you say fight, you fight. In this obedience lies a deeper strength than any weight you could lift or medal you could win. It is the strength of a man whose flesh bows to his will. And when your own body fears you, so will everyone else. Weak men spend their lives avoiding loss. Strong men spend their lives choosing what to lose. That is the difference. The masses think strength is about clinging to everything: comfort, relationships, approval, security. But real strength is built by cutting away what softens you before life does it for you. Machiavelli understood this law of power. Nothing great is achieved without deliberate cost. Princes who tried to please everyone lost their thrones. Generals who refused to leave soldiers behind lost wars. In the game of survival, sentimentality is a liability. The man who cannot let go is already enslaved by what he clings to. Look at how most people live. They hoard convenience like treasure, terrified of discomfort. They keep unworthy friends to avoid loneliness. They take easy jobs to avoid risk. They hold on to bad habits because giving them up would sting their pride. And because they never choose to bleed, life eventually takes everything from them all at once. You must do the opposite. Treat sacrifice as a weapon. You sharpen yourself. Decide what you will burn now so you don't burn later. Give up pleasures that waste your edge. Cut off alliances that weaken you. Walk away from paths that lead nowhere, even if they are easy. Every sacrifice you make on your own terms is an investment, a deposit into your future strength. This is not about needless suffering. It's about discipline with a purpose. Think of a commander discarding excess baggage before a battle. The march becomes lighter. The army moves faster. Sacrifice frees you from weight. It hardens you against fear of loss because you've already trained to live without what others think is necessary. The more you voluntarily let go, the more dangerous you become. When others are terrified of losing money, you've already learned to live lean. When others are terrified of losing comfort, you've already slept on cold floors. When others are terrified of losing friends, you've already walked alone. What can they use against you if you've already surrendered everything they would take? There's a reason Machiavelli praised rulers who placed survival above sentiment. He knew that a prince willing to sacrifice his own comfort, even his own reputation, could not be cornered. Such men appear ruthless, but in truth, they are simply free. Free from the fear of loss. Start small. Give up one indulgence every week. Not forever, but long enough to prove you control it, not the other way around. Refuse one invitation you secretly don't need. Spend one evening working instead of distracting yourself. Each act of sacrifice is not weakness. It is proof that you are carving yourself into something sharper than circumstance. Do not confuse this with self-punishment. You are not destroying yourself. You are sculpting yourself. Michelangelo once said he carved statues by chipping away everything that wasn't part of the figure. Sacrifice works the same way. You chip away weakness until only power remains. When you master sacrifice, you terrify people without trying. They see a man who cannot be bribed by comfort, slowed by luxury, or paralyzed by fear of loneliness. They see someone who will choose his mission over his feelings every time. And that makes you dangerous. Because if you are willing to give up what others worship, you can take everything they thought was untouchable. The man who treats sacrifice as an ally is no longer hostage to the world. He doesn't cling to possessions, titles, or approval. And because of that, he cannot be manipulated. He chooses what to lose, and in choosing, he wins. The strongest man is not simply the one who can endure more pain or impose more willpower. It is the one who cannot be read, cannot be anticipated, cannot be cornered. When people know exactly who you are and how you will react, they know how to defeat you. Predictability is weakness disguised as consistency. Most people broadcast their inner world like an open book. Their faces reveal every thought. Their routines never change. Their words betray their fears and their desires. One insult and they explode. One compliment and they soften. They are like machines with visible buttons. Press the right one, and you control them completely. To be inhumanly strong, you must remove those buttons. Machiavelli admired rulers who concealed their motives and shifted their behavior with precision. They were not erratic. They were strategic. Their enemies could never tell if they would yield or strike, forgive or destroy. This uncertainty was itself a weapon. Start by concealing your emotions, not by faking cheerfulness. but by becoming unreadable. When something angers you, do not show it. When something pleases you, do not show it. When something frightens you, especially, do not show it. People fear what they cannot measure, and they cannot measure a man whose face is a mask. Next, vary your patterns. Do not be predictable in how you speak, where you go, who you favor, or how you respond. Let people think they understand you, then prove them wrong at the moment it matters most. Uncertainty breeds caution, and cautious people do not attack. When you're unreadable, your strength multiplies. Competitors hesitate, unsure how to challenge you. Allies respect you more, because mystery makes power feel larger than life. And enemies stop plotting because they cannot tell where to strike. Even betrayal loses its teeth when no one knows which way you will turn. This is not about being chaotic for its own sake. Unpredictability is not recklessness. It is control, the ultimate form of control. You decide when to be generous and when to be merciless. You choose when to advance and when to hold your ground. You determine when to reveal your strength and when to hide it entirely. Think of a predator in the wild. The most dangerous creature is not the one that roars constantly, but the one that moves silently and strikes without warning. People fear not only what is powerful, but what is unknown. If they cannot read your next move, they will imagine it to be worse than it is, and that fear alone becomes part of your power. Machiavelli wrote that a ruler must be both lion and fox, able to fight fiercely when required, and able to deceive when fighting directly would be unwise. When you master unpredictability, you embody both. You are not just strong, you are untouchable. When others expect you to beg, stand silent. When they expect you to forgive, strike. When they expect you to rage, smile. When they expect you to surrender, advance. Each time you defy expectation, you teach the world that no one truly knows you. And when no one knows you, no one can own you. The man who cannot be read cannot be broken. His strength is not simply endurance or discipline, but in the fear he creates by being impossible to predict. And that fear protects him more than armor ever could. You've now seen every step. Every piece of this path is designed to strip away the softness that weakens most men and replace it with something no one can break. Let's tie it all together. First, you learn to destroy comfort before comfort destroys you. Weak men let life test them on its terms. Strong men test themselves first. They wake earlier than they want, suffer longer than they should, and cut out every luxury that makes them slow to fight. Second, you learn to train your mind to rule, not serve. Fear, doubt, and emotion are tools for those who control them, chains for those who don't. If you don't own your own thoughts, someone else will. Third, you learn that your body is not a shrine to worship. It is a weapon to command. You do not train to look strong. You train to prove that your flesh obeys your will without question. Fourth, you learn that power is multiplied by mystery. When people cannot predict you, they cannot control you. When they cannot read you, they fear you. A man who is both lion and fox, as Machiavelli wrote, is impossible to corner. What does all this mean? It means real strength is not a single skill, a single workout, or a single mindset. It is a total transformation from the inside out. Your mind must be tempered. Your body must be disciplined. Your presence must be unreadable. Together, these turn you into something rare. A man no one dares to push because he cannot be broken, cannot be manipulated, and cannot be stopped. If you take these lessons seriously, you will no longer chase strength for applause. You will no longer measure yourself by what others say or think. You will become strong because you refuse to be anything else. And that kind of strength does not fade. The question now is simple. Will you take the first step? Will you wake tomorrow and choose pain before it chooses you? Will you command your thoughts and your body instead of letting them command you? Will you stay mysterious enough to keep enemies guessing and allies respectful? Most people will watch this and nod along. Then they'll go back to the same soft routines, the same empty comforts, the same predictable habits that have always kept them weak. But you're not most people. If you've stayed this long, you're already different. You already know this truth. Strength is not given. It's taken. And you take it by force, by forging yourself in fire until nothing can bend you. The world isn't getting easier. It's getting sharper, colder, and more hostile. But that's your advantage. While others crumble, you'll grow harder. While others pray to be rescued, you'll already be unshakable. Temper yourself, become steel, and when life strikes,